Many of these countries, they want to kill gays and they enslave women. And Hillary Clinton wants them pouring in. You tell me, who's better for gays? Who is better? Tell me, who is better for women? Who is better for women?
That was Donald Trump Friday in Houston proclaiming he is the best choice for the LGBTQ community as well as women. The presumptive Republican presidential nominee faces a challenge to win the overwhelmingly Democratic-leaning voters. And joining me now, President of Log Cabin Republicans, Gregory Angelo. Gregory, welcome to you. I know you've said that Donald Trump is the most pro-gay nominee Republicans have ever had for president. Why do you believe that?
I have said that. I want to just start by saying Log Cabin Republicans as an organization has not made any determination regarding a formal endorsement of Donald Trump at this time. But I've been asked for months how Donald Trump is on LGBT issues. And what I said going back to August of last year was that if Trump were to become this party's nominee, he would be the most pro-gay Republican presidential nominee in history. And I stand by that. I mean, here's a man who, as far back as 2000, said we should amend the Civil Rights Act to include sexual orientation non-discrimination. Here's a man who has attended a same-sex wedding. Here's someone who actually addressed the fact that the transgender community faces heightened levels of discrimination in this country. And here's a man who made history in Monday of last week, the first time a Republican presidential presumptive nominee ever even uttered the phrase LGBT community, but went one step farther and actually made overtures to the LGBT community for our support.
So if you look at the numbers, according to a recent poll, 84% of likely LGBTQ voters prefer Democratic presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. And there's a 68-point margin between these two candidates in this poll. So what are you seeing that those voters aren't?
Well, I don't know that I'm not necessarily not seeing those things. What I have said, in addition to saying that Trump would be the most pro-gay nominee this party has ever had, is that in order to come to that determination, you have to view Mr. Trump exclusively through the prism of LGBT issues. And truly, in that regard, exclusively in that regard, he is good on LGBT issues. But putting everything else aside with Mr. Trump is a Herculean, if not impossible, task. And I imagine people are looking at him, through not just the LGBT issues, but also things like his call for a ban on Muslims. That is a call that Log Cabin Republicans has formally opposed. We were one of the first and one of the strongest LGBT advocacy organizations to say such a plan not only is untenable, but is something that goes against the very tenets of who we are as an American freedom-loving society. So, Donald Trump pushes people's buttons in many different ways. While he does that, I think it's also important to point out that on LGBT issues, he has nonetheless taken a leadership position.
So, Gregory, do you think the poll numbers are not indicative of how a lot of LGBTQ voters actually feel? I mean, is there pressure to vote Democrat?
Well, there's most definitely a pressure to vote Democrat. There's a thinking among many in the LGBT community that if you come out as gay, you have to be a Democrat. There's no choice but to be a Democrat. And I'm proud to say that in Log Cabin Republicans, we don't toe the line. We're not single-issue voters. People in our organization, some support Mr. Trump, others don't. We had people in our members supporting all of the 17 Republican candidates for president in this very full election cycle. Certainly, Mr. Trump has his work cut out for him, but I think there is actually an opportunity between now and November for him to continue to make inroads with the LGBT community, and I would hope he would engage Log Cabin Republicans to help make that happen.
I'm curious about this because Democrats and Republicans appear to be divided on how to define the mass shooting in Orlando, whether it was an act of terror or a hate crime. What are your thoughts?
I don't think that it is a zero-sum game when it comes to that. I mean, Log Cabin Republicans, we did put out a statement on Sunday, June 12th, saying that this was an act of radical Islamic terrorism. We called upon not only President Obama, but also both presumptive nominees in both parties to call it that. And actually, everyone over the course of the last week has done so. There are emerging facts, and they're still somewhat blurry, about this man's maybe closeted sexual orientation, whether he had some sort of pent-up animosity toward gay people that was driven by his own repressed sexuality or sexual orientation. This might very well be a hate crime that was fueled by radical Islamic terror, and a man who looked toward radical Islamic terror as a conduit for the homophobia that he felt, that if things bear out, he committed the greatest act of terrorism since September 11th, and it wasn't only the greatest act of terrorism in this country, but it could also be the country's worst hate crime in history.
Gregory Angelo, president of Log Cabin Republicans. Gregory, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me on, Alex. I wish it was under different circumstances in the wake of Orlando. Yeah.
We'll have you back another time. Thanks.
Thank you.